everybody. Welcome to Hello Chaos. This is a podcast where we explore the messy and chaotic lives of founders, entrepreneurs, and innovators. Hello Chaos is one of many resources brought to you by Orange Whip. That's Orange Whip, WIP for Work in Progress. Orange Whip is a multimedia company that's dedicated to serving founders and entrepreneurs in affiliate cities across the U.S. through our innovative hyperlocal platforms that are designed to inform and inspire and create connections to help entrepreneurs along their journey. We are the megaphone for founders telling real, raw, and honest stories, and why our mantra is where aha meets oh shit. I am the founder of Orange Whip and your podcast host today. And on the podcast today, we are welcoming Mike Watts of LoveHandle USA out of Houston, Texas. Welcome, Mike. Thank you for coming onto our podcast.
Thank you for having me, Jennifer. It's an honor to join you here.
Well, I appreciate it. So just to set us off on the right path, your profile and your bio is amazing of what you've accomplished. Just tell us at that 30,000 foot view of your entrepreneur journey and the company that you now represent.
Well, yeah, my latest, thanks for the opportunity to share my story. And, the 30,000 foot view, I've kind of always been an entrepreneur. This is my sixth startup company after leaving corporate America. Well, actually, they overlapped a bit. I had a little side hustle for a while, and I've kind of made my name in licensing patents around innovative products. And I try to bring those products to life and take them to market and put them in packaging and get them dressed up for the big time and try to build them into a household name. Our latest company, LoveHandle, it's I think one of the best smartphone accessories you can have. It's a low profile grip for your phone, allows you to hang on to it. It's got an integrated kickstand and works in two directions, magnetic. And I really have to thank listening to our customers as a process about what made it so great, because it started out pretty simple. But, I've always had this vision to chart my own path, no matter what it was. And we're family operations. So literally everyone in my family works here at LoveHandle.
Oh my goodness.
And very much a lifestyle for us to be entrepreneurs. And after leaving corporate America, I've never looked back.
So what was your foundation, your corporate foundation? Where was it in manufacturing and product design, or what was that background?
No, I worked for the electric company. I was an engineer for them at first, and then I liked to talk so much they moved me into public relations. But I didn't like, being in a company of 30,000 people that was very much tenure based. It was very limiting for growth opportunities and compensation growth. And when we had our first child, my wife and I decided that we would invest in her staying home. So we went from a 2-income to 1-income family. And so quickly we're in need of finding new sources of revenue.
Wow. So what was your first company that you said, okay, I'm going out on my own?
Yeah.
What was that?
Well, lucky for me, I have the very last piece here of our product. This is
what
called
is that?
Rain Sorb. It's a
Rain Sorb.
You might know it today as Orbeez.
Yeah.
So we were selling it. They weren't quite as round and perfect, but you can put those. And if you ever have Orbeez, you can use them for this. You can mix them with water and use them for flower decorations, but you can also put them in your potted plants so you don't have to water as often. They kind of act like a sponge.
That's right.
And so we would, my wife would spend all week bagging these up and getting everything ready for the shows. And we would head to a home and garden show in a city, within 6 or 7 hours. And we'd spend all weekend selling and come back, and I would go back to my regular job during the week. We did that for years, and then just started adding new products to it. And, got into wooden airplanes, cars, motorcycles. We got into garden decorations and T-shirts and all kinds of stuff we sold along the way, and really just a learning process and a willingness to try something new.
Yeah. So with the Orbit, did they come and buy you out, or how did you move on to the next business or product?
Yeah, no, it's, that's a commodity item. It's just polyacrylamide, and we were just packaging it up and gave it a name. They used it for something else. Of course, used in baby diapers too. So it's got a lot of commercial applications. But I sold that company, I think, for $6,000 to a husband and wife that had just retired and were going to travel in their RV and do trade shows. And I don't know what they ever did with it, but
But
yeah, that
you're
was
like,
like exit.
that's right. So I also saw in your bio, you have a connection with Shark Tank.
Yes.
So how did that come about?
Well, not the traditional way. I did audition twice for the show and was turned down in the second round of auditions twice. But
Was it with LoveHandle? Or was it a different products?
it was with LoveHandle, yes.
Okay.
And so we auditioned to be on the show, really thinking that I wanted to be on the show really bad. And and I really wanted to do a deal with a shark, and I had one picked out that I wanted to do a deal with. And I always envisioned that's the way it would go. But long story short, I wasn't, I got a face for radio or whatever it is. They didn't put me on TV. And, but as it turns out, I was kept sending product into the set. Some of my product got on the phone of one of the sharks who fell in love with it and then just started ordering it for his company. And then I used that to create a relationship with his company and then later with him. And then that's how I made a deal with Damon John.
Very good. So it was literally just you being persistent with and you were just sending the different LoveHandle products to him?
Well, what I started doing is I knew he would come out with a new book, like Rise and Grind, and I would make custom printed ones with his logo for Rise and Grind, and then give them to him when I knew he was going to go to a book signing, and he would be passing them out and go, "Where did these come from?" "Oh, this guy Mike Watts sent them to you." That's cool. And then he'd come out with this Power of Broke book, and the next thing I'm doing and I just kept adding value. I'd make them for FUBU, made them for his Shark Group company, and
oh wow,
I think that the lesson really looking back on it was just to continue to add value and not look for anything in return.
Yeah.
And just try to build a relationship that way. So many people approach someone like that and say, "Hey, what can you do for me?" But they don't first ask what they can do for them. And you might have to think about it pretty hard about what you can do for someone like that. But there's always something.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love that. That's a great lesson. So here you are, you still have that relationship with him that it's ongoing and supportive. And you're at like what, over 50 million in sales and you're continuing to run.
Yeah, that's the total. And it's actually 70 million, but it's,
oh, wow. Okay.
That's overall of my companies, over the last 20 years.
Okay.
But we're doing really well with LoveHandle. We've been at it for nine years and just about a week will be our 9-year anniversary, and we're going to be celebrating that. I thought it was going to be just a kind of a quick in and out gadget product, but it's really evolved to be something that's highly functional, and there's an enormous market for it. And so we're just excited for all the new products and stuff that we've got coming down the pipeline.
No kidding. Well, 9-year is a milestone, big milestone. So congratulations there. How big is LoveHandle now? You said that your family works for you.
Mm-hmm.
Is that wife, kids,
yes.
Like extended family, like in-laws, or like how far does the family extend?
Absolutely. Yeah. So my wife manages our marketing team. My daughter is 19. She is part of our social media squad and was the original social media person for us. And my oldest son runs our promotional products division. He's 23. Wow. And we have then my 18-year-old son. He works in the warehouse. He still goes to school. He graduates high school this year. So he'll come here in the morning and work and then go to class and then comes back in the afternoon and works again. So everybody works here. My mother-in-law handles customer service. My father-in-law helps us with documents and procedures. My father comes by now. He's semi-retired, so he comes by once or twice a week and fixes machines or replaces a light bulb or something to add some value. So it's literally everyone in our family.
That is fantastic. So, I am I'm a founder, but I also have a full service marketing and ad agency that we're on our 9th year anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
We'll be 10 years come December. So, but yeah, I have family members that work for us. I have my husband as our CFO and financial officer. I've been trying to recruit the kids, but they're like, no, no, thank you. But talking to other founders, there's some founders that are like, I will never bring family in. I don't want to deal with that. There's a saying of you never hire somebody you can't fire.
Right.
And then there's the other founders and small business owners and enterprises that have said, no, 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 kind of taken the approach you've taken, like, no, this is a family business. This is going to be a legacy
Mhm.
for the generations to come. So, was this just happenstance, or were you more intentional of this needs to be a family business?
Well, no, I don't think we were super intentional about that. Now, it was my father and I were like our last three companies we founded kind of side by side. So it's
Mm.
already been a combination of a family company. But this one's evolved, as the kids have grown up, really coming to shows with us and becoming exposed to it. And
Mhm.
they weren't always, 100% receptive to the idea of working, for their dad or with their dad or, any of that stuff. But, I think that it's a case by case basis. For us, it really works well because we've just opened it up as an opportunity. And really, it's been a blessing because they've been able to try new things. I mean, all of us really, like in entrepreneurship, you have to try new things. And so they've been
Right.
able to learn things they maybe wouldn't have otherwise gotten to learn and try things that they wouldn't get to try. And I think it's been a very educational process for all of us.
That's fantastic. Are there any lessons learned that you'd go, okay, if I could redo it, or you're thinking, oh, maybe I need to put this in place to have family as part of the business?
Well, I think entrepreneurship in general is about taking risks. And, why not take those risks with people that you love and let them, fail and learn in a safer environment than they would maybe in some place where they really require the income or I just think that it's a safe space to learn. And to me, that's some of the biggest benefits of being a founder is being able to provide those types of opportunities, which are super unique. So yeah, I wouldn't change anything about the way we did it. And, it wasn't perfect and it's not perfect, but it's our little way to do business. So
That's right. So how big is your team now?
we are 26 people, I believe, right now.
Okay. So you're scaling up there.
Yeah.
Is it hybrid, or is everybody located in Houston?
No, everybody's here. Everybody's in the building. Some people, some of the interns will work remotely sometimes during the week, but for the most part, everybody works here. We do, like half of the teams does manufacture. We manufacture in our building. So we do our
Oh, wow.
manufacturing here. And then we've got our marketing team. We have fulfillment, customer service, admin, graphic design. So everybody's got a specialty, but everybody's also willing to do whatever it takes to
Yeah.
to find success. So
Oh, so where does it go from here, Mike? Are you going, okay, I'm 26 people now. What's your vision? What's your plan and path to go? Is it 50 people? Is it 500 people? Like what's that path that you're on?
I I really don't know, Jennifer. I mean, I think that I'm not gonna I really don't think of it in the number of people. I try to just think of like what it's gonna take for us to remain profitable so that the
Okay.
people that are on the ship have a secure, safe spot and that we're in a growing mode. But I'm really looking at like how much reach can we get? How much impact can we make? How
Mhm.
many phones can we get our product on? And how can that make those people's lives better, globally? Because there's more phones than humans out there. So it's an enormous market. So I feel like we're still at the very, very beginning. We're very small compared to our largest competitor, which you've probably seen out there. And so we're excited to just see where it goes. I don't really have any vision other than, well, I want to win. I want to be number one. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. As you've looked back across your different companies and stuff, what are the biggest kind of aha moments for you, um, or your oh crap moments? What have been those lessons that you've learned out of those two, uh, uh, like big deals, milestones?
Well, I've made plenty of mistakes. I mean, we could sit here all afternoon and talk about the mistakes, but some of the big ones that really set us back were when my ego got a little bit ahead of where we were at, and my overconfidence in the product or my ability to market a product. And typically it would be we would manufacture too much of it too quickly and try
Okay.
to bring in enormous amounts with overconfidence that already had the right product mix or packaging mix or the right manufacturer. And so twice now I've had to push, over a $500,000 worth of product into the dump. And it's been extremely painful. It's typically because of low quality manufacturing, which is big part of the reason we manufacture here, so that we know, like we can control it in our building. So that's, I tell people to take affordable steps to be okay with, especially early on, with like stocking out a product or not being able to meet every customer that wants it. But it's better to like live in this cycle of feedback with your customer longer, to make sure that your product mix or the way it's presented or the way the messaging is spot on before you scale. So try to just start small, take affordable steps, and then grow from there.
When you did manufacturing, was that overseas, or was that just not in the Texas area that you could kind of spot check?
Right. No, it was overseas.
It
So
was
I would,
overseas.
say, okay, they'd be like, oh, you get a price break at, 100,000 units or whatever. Like, you get a way better deal. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's put this money in and let's go for it. And then next thing you know, like they use cheap glue or something and the straps will break and you can't sell that product and it's not fixable. There's no line to go stand in it, at Walmart, like Walmart, with a receipt and get your money back. It's just not like that with China. So, we really focused on quality, and, it's more about serving the customer. And that's really sort of our lighthouse to like what's going to serve our customer better.
Yeah.
And, that distance between the manufacturing and then that supply chain control to the customer was a
big deal.
Yeah.
So, and when you define your customer, is it like me, the consumer, or are you selling into kind of a wholesaler distributor that puts it on shelves? Are you selling direct through an e-commerce?
We do both, but when I'm defining the customer, it's you. It's you with my product on your phone, propped up on your table, having your coffee, or sticking it to a pole and getting a selfie with your family. Like, it's those moments, I think. And for us, or we have tons of our customers that have arthritis or are missing a limb. And like our product is really game changing for them. But, even us people with two hands, like it's, really a big deal for how it uses. So does it hold up? Does it work right? Does it slip in your pocket? Does it function well? And if you do have an issue, how do we treat that process? And, how do we treat the customer, make sure that we exceed their expectations? That's our lighthouse.
How are you getting that feedback from them? Like, how is that ongoing loop? Is that just coming in through like reviews on the website or in Amazon? I mean, how does that feedback loop work?
Yeah, it's a great question. And it's a lot of different ways. We actively ask for everybody that purchased from us gets a review request. And it's a very easy form for them to fill out on their email. They don't even have to leave the email to give us a review. We have a helpline that my amazing mother-in-law manages, and she's the biggest LoveHandle fan and just the sweetest person. So she's the perfect person to be there, as an advocate for she's a customer advocate for us. And, we read every review on Amazon. We read every review on our website, and we're always looking for ways. Any post on social media, we have social media listening, and we look at the comments and like, what are people saying? What are their pain points? What do they wish that it did do that it doesn't do? Even if it's great the way it is, what would make it better? And that's what allowed us to evolve our product too.
So how many products do you have? Is it different kind of product styles and types to meet different needs, or is it more just like products in different colors? Like, how is your product mix?
It's a bit of both. So we've got, our number one product is the LoveHandle Pro.
Yeah.
This is our Pro model. It's got the kickstand, it's got 2 stages, and it's got the magnets. But what's neat about it is that it's personalized. So you can actually change the strap and switch it out for a new style. And so we sell replacement straps, and now we're getting into licensing. And so you'll be able to have sports teams or rock bands or whatever, and express your style or match your outfit or whatever you want to do. So that's it. We also have a MagSafe version. So people that like the wireless charge, they can magnetically attach it to the back of their phone and then take it off to charge their phone. And then we've got a wallet version that's about to come out. So there's just like several iterations, but then they all have sort of limitless designs.
Yeah. I love that. So licensing, whoa, how did you, was that hard to get into and to kind of navigate that world? Because we've heard from other founders of some it's easy and others are like, oh, this is too complex. I can't do this. We got to have to pivot.
It's a work in progress, Jennifer. It's like one of those right now we are in negotiations, and as my advice would be to go partner with someone. I think partnership is something that is a big deal for whatever you're doing in business, right? Like whether you're trying, working with Damon John, or you're working with somebody that has license, go find somebody that has the licenses. Make sure you have a product that, has enough volume and velocity and customers to warrant that.
Okay.
If you can partner with somebody that has it, then you can typically work a deal where you'll be a manufacturer for them.
Okay.
And they'll turn around, they'll sell to their customers, but they'll sell back to you at a reduced rate. And then now I can turn around and resell it on my website or Amazon
Right.
or to another
So
retailer.
you're almost like you're a sub to those, right?
Right. Yeah. And
Right.
then
Okay.
if you go long enough, then you see the demand, right? Start
That's right.
steps. Then you can go and acquire the licenses on your own and cut that, that layer of margin out. But that's a great way to partner.
Oh, that's great advice. So does Damon still continue to kind of give you support and I guess advice and coaching, or is he just really kind of like one of those, a mentor friend?
It's become a bit of both.
Okay.
It's mentor first, and he's the number one paid speaker in the country right now.
Yeah.
So he's super, super busy, and he's got a great company that he runs. And I just continue to try to, we make, when he gives gifts out, he's gifting our product.
Oh my goodness.
That's a way to add value back to us. And so that helps. But then he's, early on, he was like, got us on QVC and Home Shopping Network and Good Morning America and those things. So that was a valuable benefit to us. But even today, like he's able to get us, we were giving samples to Barstool Sports and to, the Dallas Mavericks via Mark Cuban, and like different ways to get product in the right people's hands. Access is really what those guys
he helps. That's amazing. That's like priceless connections right there. And it just took some persistence, right?
That's right.
And having a more genuine, I guess, purview in, how do I support them? How do I give value to that person versus what are they giving to me? That's just the
world will pay you for value, whether it's a person or just your community at large. The more value you can deliver, the more you'll get. People go out, they try to start a business to make money. But money's a byproduct of value. So the more value you can give the world, then the more money that you'll end up with. So.
Yeah, I agree with that philosophy. What are other, like, I would say, the biggest lessons that you've learned from that relationship with Damon?
Well, I'd say that relationships take time, and that, I think it was years before I ever asked for anything from him, and I still haven't asked for much. But it's just a natural response of people when you give, that they want to reciprocate. And so that's been my strategy. And, listening is really important. I think a lot of us don't listen, and I'm just as guilty as anybody of like over talking. So, I try to listen as much. I never learn anything by talking. So try to listen and ask wise questions when I'm around someone like that, because they are typically very intelligent and very experienced. So try to just learn what you can while you can. And
so as you kind of look at, moving ahead, what are some other lessons that you've kind of learned along the way? You talked about the manufacturing and the eco. What were some other, just like, oh crap, I would have never thought about that. And time to pivot. Are there other?
Yeah. Well, a good example was, in 2020, we all remember that year, right?
Oh yeah.
So beginning of 2020, first quarter, we were setting records. We had really focused. We had to pivot first away. Originally, I thought our product was going to be great for retail, right? You're thinking you're going to hang at the store, traditional way. And as it turns out, our competitor was just white hot popular. And like, we couldn't get a peg anywhere. And so we pivoted into promotional products, and we became very good at what I deemed as fewer, faster, finer. We would make customs super fast and super quality and really and good price, and manufactured in the USA. And then from there, so we built our whole business around promotional products and custom printing. And then COVID hit, and people stopped going to trade shows, which was our core consumer. Was someone going to a trade show, going to give away something with their logo, get their logo on the back of someone's phone, so they think about them every day. It was a great proposition, but all that went away. So we had to pivot back into retail by developing our product into something so much more advanced that we hadn't figured out yet how to do it. We knew kind of what we wanted to do, but we made a list of everything our customers had asked for, and we tried to make the product that would do it all. And that downtime during COVID allowed us to finish development and really solidify that plan. And when we came out the back of it, we had what I think is the world's greatest phone grip. And we wouldn't have had that had we not, had that time, but also had we not been willing to pivot and completely change our business model. So promotional products went from being 80% of our revenue. Now it's like, under 5. So
Are you going to go back now that events and stuff is like ticking back up? Are you going to go back into that, or are you going, you know what, I kind of like there's enough room in this space that we're in?
No, we're definitely going back, and
Okay.
it's still not back completely, because things were really ramped. The marketing dollars were flowing.
Yeah.
And people were buying it, and we had a lot of momentum and awareness. And it's sort of like we had to start over with awareness. Like everybody has this mental fog that happens during that time. And so it's like you have to rebrand yourself all over again. So it's coming back, but it's been neat to be able to take our customer journey to a better, more premium product, and then also control. Like we really focus on direct to consumer, like LoveHandle.com is that's our bread and butter here, and Amazon. But being able to have our customer come directly to us and tell us what they want and shop our inventory, and we get to actually pack it and deal with them directly, and we really like that.
And I'm just like fascinated with that, and just you talking about getting into the promotional products and retail and really designing. So coming from as an electrical engineer, how did you learn to navigate that industry and that space in such a short amount of time?
Well, everything, like when I started my first product-based company where we were manufacturing this is actually here. This is the weed eater head, right? So you can still buy this thing at Lowe's or Home Depot or Walmart. So number one selling weed eater head in the world. I sold this company in 2012. When I first started this company, I knew nothing about packaging. I knew nothing about injection. I didn't even know how plastic parts were made.
Yeah.
But, even then there was resources there. I went and found someone that knew how to do it and learned. And that's really what it comes down to is being willing to learn something new and being able to just try it and figure it out, being decisive and just being willing to make a decision, which is so much better than just not making a decision.
Mm-hmm.
So we just continued to learn and figure out things and make mistakes. And we made plenty of them. The LoveHandle now has been in, I think, 12 different packages, and just constantly changing the presentation to the customer to try to refine that experience. But a lot of trial and error. And I think that's entrepreneurship in a nutshell.
It is. So when you were going through like these product development and like the injection mold, and is this you going, this is a problem I need to solve? Is that how you kind of approached different things to go, I have a solution. Now let me design that solution. Has that been where your mind goes?
Yeah, I know. Like I know where I want to end up. I want to end up, for example, with a functional working product that does this and lasts this long. How do we get there? And so we'll make version 1, it breaks. Like the LoveHandle Pro, during COVID, we made over 400 versions of this that didn't work. The kickstand would break, or they wouldn't lock, or originally we were going to use the elastic portion to like keep it open, but that wasn't really fun. Like there was so many different versions that didn't work, and we just kept trying. And look at Thomas Edison's another great example of somebody that just kept trying with a light bulb, and everybody told him it wouldn't work, and why don't you just give up? But then he persisted, and finally the world would just kind of yield to that. So
yeah. So when you say it's a team of we, so is it you and your extended team sitting in a room just playing with different materials and product, going, will this work? Or how does that creativity or that creation process work for you? I hope that's not revealing any secret sauce. I'm just curious of how that ideation happens.
Well, it's like I say, it's always a we, and it's the different we's. Today we had a meeting in this very room where we were trying to figure out like our product mix for the upcoming show season, and having a group of people that with all kind of the same vision, and then collaborate together. That's how I found the best. If I stay in my head too long, I'll just never get anywhere. But in the product development side, I got to find somebody that's an expert or really good at design and materials and things like that. Well, as it turns out, our inventor, like I said, I licensed the original product
Yeah.
from an inventor in Minnesota, super smart guy named John Murphy, and he has taken pretty much all of his resources for royalties and put that back into machines and equipment and development. And so he's become our R&D department.
Oh, wow.
And so it's the partnership theme where
Yeah.
it's like a marriage where like the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. I'd bring the marketing and the vision, and this is what we want to make, and how do we do that? And then he says, well, let's try this. That doesn't work. We just back and forth, and it's that dialogue and that collaboration that helps to yield the right kind of result.
That's fantastic. And it's just him and you kind of work, or your team's working from Texas to Minnesota.
That's right. FaceTime and it comes down some, but for the most part, yeah, it's virtual and we do it, make it work.
That's fantastic. So as you are, going out, what's next? What's the next big thing that you're going after? What's the next big milestone that you're reaching for?
Well, inside of LoveHandle, we are trying to establish ourselves as at least one of the top 2 brands in the phone accessory space. And, I know we have the right product mix. So now all we lack is awareness. And so my goal now is just to raise awareness and just keep our pedal to the metal while we stay profitable, but also so we're really investing in video and, letting the social media team loose to really try to create some buzz and hopefully some viral videos out there. But our goal is to become synonymous with functionality associated with smartphones. And, that's such an integral part of, like, it almost defines our generation, right? These smartphones.
That's right.
And now we're looking at, like, how do we adapt into the AI revolution, and how is that going to interact with it? We're going to add, we're going to make our product smart so that it'll share your contact information and all these types of things. Like, what can we do to help people use their phones better, and like to get the phone out of the way so they can get back to being productive and enjoying life. So
it's almost incorporating kind of like the Dot meets LoveHandle.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's fantastic. So now looking back on your journey, what are the top 3 pieces of advice that you would give to other founders and entrepreneurs, whether it's to start up or to figure out, hey, I'm kind of stagnant. How do I scale? What do I need to do to scale?
Well, my first thought is to learn from others that have gone before you, right? To listen to places like the Hello Chaos podcast and learn from people that have done it, and listen to great books and podcasts like How I Built This. And
that's right. That's a good one.
Yeah. And Masters of Scale I like. And then I just every year at least I listen to How to Think and Grow Rich, which I think is one of the greatest sort of mindset books out there that understand success. So really educate yourself is the theme there on success and what success looks like, so that then you can apply those principles to your own life. And second would be really around your action, right? Like my dad always says, you can't lean on a shovel and pray for a hole. You got to do the digging. You got to do the work, and it's dirty and it's long. And, if you're not really into 12-hour days and 7-day work weeks and missing out on a lot of stuff early on, then, maybe you're not cut out to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
Like, it's just not easy. No matter what anybody says about it, it's hard.
That's right.
I think that's a great product. Doesn't matter.
We've talked about that on the you got entrepreneurs or wantrepreneurs,
Right.
and those are folks that might be like, okay, I'm picking up some gigs, but they're not really founder of something to grow, right? And it's hard when you take that risk, and you're paying other people insurance.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you probably had to spend a lot in legal with your.
Yeah.
I was like, a lot of legal bills come your way with patents and licensing and trademarks and all that. And it's I think that's been a theme, not just on our podcast, but when we tell, when we write stories at the local level, they were like, this is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be.
Right. Yeah. It's going to be harder and take longer and be more
Yeah.
expensive and be more frustrating than you ever could imagine.
Yeah.
But it's way more rewarding when you get there and sometimes profitable than you even imagine. So it's a double-edged deal. I love it. And I think that the final piece of advice I would be is like, how do you deal with failure? Because failure is just part of the course. Like if you know you're going to fail 9 out of 10 times, then you just plan to try 10, because that one success that you get, and you get better at it over time. That's the whole point. And you learn. But your resiliency and just taking that first step, I think in a lot of entrepreneurs, so many people come to me with an idea. They're like, oh, Mike, I got this great idea for a product. I'm like, oh, great. Well, have you made one? Like even whittled it out of wood or anything? Like, oh no, I wouldn't know where to start. I'm like, well, start somewhere. Like do something today that moves you towards your idea. Because if you're not, then you're never going to make it a reality. So.
That's right. That's right. So that last piece, that's a great to kind of lead into the next question. Adversity and resiliency. Is there anything that you do, whether it's within the business, for your team, or just you personally? How do you do mental fitness? How do you keep that spirit up and that resiliency up?
Well, it's a great question, because it's a challenge. A lot of people will look from the outside in and they'll say, oh, he's got it all together and look at all the success. And boy, I wish I could be more like him. But if you got to spend a minute in my head, you would see that I deal with doubt and frustration and, insecurity the same as anyone else. Right. And it does require maintenance. And I think a lot of it starts spiritually first, and physically. So, trying to, get your relationship, for me, with God, and like starting my day with, prayer and a Bible study and, like an exercise, and, trying to set my agenda for the day before the world sets it. I'm not trying to grab my phone and open social media and let the world, get me all stirred up. Right. Really try to get focused on, like, there's a book called The Miracle Morning that I love. And I think that it's a great resource for people that they should check out. But, so that's how you do it. You just start each day, one day at a time. You got to be graceful with yourself too, and give yourself grace, and know that, if you have a bad day, then that's okay, because that's going to happen. But you just got to try to get back up again tomorrow and be thankful for that time, and see what, how far you can move the ball down the field.
That's the perfect advice. And I'm going to ask you, so you have family that work with you. How do you guys shut off? How do you and your wife kind of go, okay, we're working together, but now it's we time? Or do you guys have that separation?
Yeah, we, in June, we'll have been married 25 years.
Congratulations.
Very proud of, thank you. I'm very proud of that. And I think that for us, it's and it's probably better to ask her this question, but I think the thing is like, we know each other, and we know kind of those signals of when we each need space. And it used to be that I would come before she was working here, and I would come home and I would just talk business all night long. And it got to be the point, like, let's talk about something else.
Yeah.
Now that we're both here, I think we allow some of that conversation at home about business, but also in the evenings we'll shut it off, and there's plenty of other conversations. But it's kind of so intertwined in who we are, because we've 9 years, the
9
kids
years
growing up in the business, and it's just really consumed us. Our headquarters we built this place 2 miles from our house.
So you're right down the street.
Going for lunch and, like back. So it's like, they're kind of connected, and maybe that's part of the issue with with the fatigue and all that stuff, because you kind of feel like you never get away from it, but we just do our best to manage it. And,
How are you dealing with the kids now that they're kind of also infused and integrated into the business? Are you trying to create those boundaries for them, or teaching them, let's tune out, let's shut down, let's have some off time?
Yeah, it's more about them teaching me about off time. Like, Dad, okay.
They're like, it's enough.
They just won't answer me, and I bring it up. But
have you been ghosted by them? Are they ghosting you?
Yeah, sometimes, and I deserve it. Sometimes I just get too caught up in it and worked up. But it's a relationship. It's just a team thing, and it's been way more positive than negative. But there are times when it gets to be too much. But I mean, we enjoy the process together, I think.
Oh, that's great. So before we leave, and because we're almost done, um, you've talked about the reward, right? I mean, entrepreneurship and being a founder and starting something special and unique all to yourself, that you're giving out to the world. Um, you feel so good about those accomplishments and what you've built, and being able to contribute to your local economy and to the industry. um, what's been a personal reward? I mean, like more of or a tangible reward where you're like, this is it, like this is why I did it.
Oh man, well that's a great question. I think that our the time that we get to have together that we wouldn't otherwise, and every day that I don't have to sit in traffic, and every day that um, I pull up, we have a beautiful home that is a result of all of our sacrifice early on, and just has for us being able to have this sort of extended, I see them as extra rounds with our
Mhm.
family, extra time, because that's really all we've got, right? Like every one of us, none of us get out of this alive. And so like when I look over my uh, goals list, the last one on there is that I'm going to look from my deathbed. I'm going to be very pleased with, that I didn't leave anything on the table, that I would, every opportunity that I had, whether it be with my family or in my business, that I went for it. I didn't, sit back and let the world pass me by or push me around. And so that's, to me, that's the biggest part of it, is just the time that we get together. And that's more valuable to me than anything else.
Oh, I love that. That's great. Um, and Love Handle. You have a mantra, kind of a tagline for that. Do you have a personal mantra?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'd say something like, just go for it.
Just go for it.
Yeah. I mean, and that's just making that, I really don't, maybe I need to think about one, but I try to share my story mostly on here on the podcast and things. It's
Yeah.
not trying to promote my company. It's really about trying to inspire the next person to just take that first step, because momentum is your friend. And so if you can just get up and moving it towards the direction of your dream, and especially now these days, like being an entrepreneur, I would say, is one of the safest things you can do,
Mhm.
because look around, AI is going to take away a bunch of jobs.
I know.
uh,
That's
you know
it's a scary.
yeah.
the
Well,
stakes.
it's scary and it's exciting. It is what you decide it is, right? Like
Oh, there
it's
you go.
also it's a leveling of the playing field. Like, so now small entrepreneurs have way more resources at their fingertips. When there wasn't even cell phones around when I just got it was so hard to like searching the internet and things like none of that stuff was
Oh,
available
I know.
before. And so there's just so many more tools available to people. And whether you like it or not, you are an entrepreneur. Even if you work in a company, like, you are
Yeah.
paid for the value that you give to that company, and you're your own silo. But this traditional contract of, I'm going to work for a company for the rest of my life and they're going to take care of me, that just literally does not exist anymore.
That's right.
So we all have to sort of take our results and look at it in the mirror, because they're a product of what we put in or put out. And so it's just a matter of being responsible for that.
Oh my gosh, I like totally connect with that. That's been my kind of my approach and belief of any of my first job. I always consider myself kind of the CEO of whatever position I was in,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of had that servant mindset of, if I'm doing the best I can and being the best, adding that value as performing that role and performing and serving everybody around me, whether it's upstream, downstream, side stream, um, like making my boss life's easier,
Yeah.
making anybody that was reporting to me, am I arming them? Am I supporting them? Am I giving them the tools and the resources? Or then peers, the side stream, how do I support them to make sure that but that's been my mindset. And I love that that is so true. You no matter if you're working for yourself or others, to have that entrepreneur mindset, because it's just value creation.
Absolutely.
That's
And
all it is.
yeah.
Um, I love that. Well, Mike, our time is wrapped up. This was great. I loved having you on here. Such great lessons and advice and books to read. And we'll make note
Everybody's
of
got
that.
homework now.
Everyone's got homework. And you're right. Like, you and I didn't grow up in like having Google. I mean, I remember going to the library and having to go and make a reservation to search LexisNexis for things,
I remember that.
Going into the books and like reading, and there's not a book for this. So we have so much information at our fingertips. But I do think your mantra is, after you've talked, it is kind of just do it, just go for it, and just take that first step, and nothing should stop you. So that's a great lesson.
Yeah, well, thanks. And it's been great to share the story. And again, like, I really appreciate you having this platform and allowing entrepreneurs to share their story, because it's exactly what the world needs is more of this and learning from each other. And
that's right.
So hopefully, you can continue to grow it and share some of this value with the world. And, hopefully that returns back to you too.
Well, I hope so too, and that's why we started Orange Whip, was really out of my frustration as a founder, of having that Brightco as a full service, marketing and ad agency. We serve brands all over the country, but it was as a founder, I didn't really have the information and the resources to really know how to grow. I didn't know where to turn. I felt very isolated and alone.
Yeah.
There's so many resources that I would hear about, but I really wasn't knowledgeable about. And so that's where I kind of started to ask other founders, and they're like, we need a platform. There needs to be a resource. And that was my aha of why Orange Whip was born, was really to be that multimedia platform dedicated to serve founders and entrepreneurs, both at the national level, but really at that local level. And we designed these hyper local platforms that has, it's storytelling, but we have local resource directories. We have a local events calendar that we curate.
Wow.
And we have a social wall that we're monitoring the chatter and the buzz within the local community of what's happening in that innovation economy. But yeah, we're in 3 affiliate cities in South Carolina, hoping to grow. And Hello Chaos is just one of our resources that we deliver in those platforms. But we also allow our podcast to be available across all podcast platforms. So whether it's Spotify or Apple or Pandora, and I say Pandora, people look at me like, that's so old school. I'm still a Pandora original user.
Yeah, me too.
That I was like, I don't like Spotify. I can't let go of my Pandora. But anyway, so, but any podcast platform, that's where you can find Hello Chaos, or at Orange Whip. That's WIP, orangewhip.com. And yeah, so you will see that distributed this coming Sunday. And please, I hope we'll tag you, Mike, and make sure you're aware so you can share and anyone can comment. And if you want to be a guest on the podcast, or if you know any guests, have them submit their contact information through the Orange Whip website. And we'd love to have other founders and entrepreneurs on, just like Mike. So Mike Watts from LoveHandle, I appreciate you being on today.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Bye-bye. Mike, thank you so much.